Hey, Jacob.
Oh, hey, Joseph. How you
Welcome
doing?
to the Carpe and Zen podcast. I'm Joseph Carpenter,
And I'm Jacob Lauritsen.
and together we're Carpe.
And Zen.
Now, we recorded probably 15 minutes of this podcast before we realized that we weren't recording.
So we're going to do it again.
We're going to do it all over again, but it's
For
going to
you.
be slightly more condensed.
I think we're already more condensed. That's pretty good. Hey, Joseph, what are you thankful for?
I am thankful for the journey that I have had recently. It's been a lot of ups and downs, and we've talked about it multiple times on the podcast, so, we don't need to go over it right now. And I'm thankful for you and the journey that we've had together over the last few years.
It's been a fantastic journey. We actually traveled the country.
We have.
Shooting the doc,
We have
which
done
I
that.
feel worse about every day as I think it's like, oh, the last thing we shot was a year ago. But I am grateful for you. Several years ago when I was like, I want to do something on YouTube, and I was telling you what I wanted to do, you're like, well, let's just do it together. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's how I worm my way into things.
But it's been fantastic. We started out with a channel called Teach Me Media, which still exists, but we kind of ignore it.
It has
And
the
then
most
we
subscribers,
created
though,
this-
I think.
Well, it all depends on what you look at. I created an English channel later,
Oh, besides Read, Write,
but the
Decide.
English channel, which is close to 6,000 now.
Yeah.
I looked at the numbers today because I made a video saying thank you to everybody involved with that channel. And it's just shy of 6,000 subscribers. And the past year, 4,100 new subscribers
Wow.
and about $3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Which all are in the hands of the federal government now.
Well, I don't know.
No, just kidding.
About that. Yeah. But I'm so glad we started doing this thing. I mean, not just the YouTube, but that it led us into stop making excuses and actually start making films.
Yeah.
So we've made some short films. We've done a series, which, we could pick up whenever, called Gila Valley Stories, a series of short, honestly, documentaries.
Yeah.
And we put high quality into those. Then we shot our feature doc and our feature narrative film, and we're slowly editing those, trying to get those done. We're learning how distribution works, and we're getting serious. We've made a whole lot of friends along the way.
Yeah.
And I think that's been one of the highlights of this year, despite the pandemic, was making the feature and getting to know so many new people.
Oh, yeah. Well, like you said, we've traveled the country now. We've met a lot of different athletes. We've met a lot of actors, some who are pretty important and up-and-comers, which has been awesome. So, yeah, it's been a ride, dude.
It has been. I mean, so for the doc, we went to Salt Lake. We shot there. Then we went out to Memphis. Well, you took a trip to Kansas City. We went to Memphis for a national competition. We went to Albuquerque.
I went to Colorado
Yeah.
a couple times. So,
Yeah, you did some of those things. We were hoping to get out to Texas, but
yeah. I think I might just go do that. I have time.
that pushed up the timeline for doing things. His hair is completely different now.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Well,
kinda,
but that's okay.
But that's okay.
That's
It's
okay.
fine. It's fine. Why is his hair totally long now? What happened? I don't know. Corona. Corona. Because last time we did an interview with him was probably about the time things were showing up in China.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's December.
Right before Worlds. So,
Oh, right. Because was that January?
yeah. Worlds
Okay.
was,
That was this year.
yeah, December or January.
So I guess technically, because I ripped the stuff off the website, we did a little bit of work this year. We did. We haven't quite gone through the
talked to
motions
him.
of trying to
Yeah.
get permission.
I've talked to
that
him
yet.
a little bit, but just keeping him up to date with where we're at and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I've been wondering. I've been thinking a lot about that.
It's been a while, but
But this time last year with the feature was probably about the time I met Ocho.
Right.
So
Online.
it was probably December. Because during NaNoWriMo last year, I wrote the script out. I had outlined it about October. I wrote it about this time last year. I would have been finishing the script,
Yeah.
and then we started casting during December, and then things started to fall into place. We did our first shoots in February.
Yeah.
We got probably about half the movie shot, and then April happened,
Right.
and
Which is pandemic time for Americans.
everything shut down.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to be in proximity with anybody, and it felt like it was not only unsafe but a liability to continue
Right.
shooting the movie. So in May, when things opened up again in Arizona, we finished shooting the movie by halfway through June. Then our next spike in this area probably started around July, and now it's worse than it's ever been in this area
Yeah.
right now.
Infection rate is up. Death rates are way down though. So
Yeah, people are figuring out what to do with it. And like we mentioned, I think last week, a lot of news is coming out about the vaccines. And I wasn't sure what, I don't know if I brought it up here or somewhere else. We were hearing like 90%, 95%,
success
effective
rate,
rates.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what is the flu?
Yeah.
I looked it up today. It's like 40, 50%.
Nice.
So it's
course-
significantly higher.
Well, that's in their testing though. The flu obviously has it has a much broader spectrum of
yeah.
effectiveness or testing anyway.
Yeah.
So,
But
but still, that's good enough for a trial run for the FDA typically.
I think they wanted over 50.
Yeah.
And so all the numbers we've heard, they're beyond 50.
So it's something they're definitely rushing. But,
They are.
and
Yeah.
it usually takes longer for stuff like that to happen, especially in the United States, because there's a lot of hoops to jump through. But because
Yeah.
of the way everything's been going, they're rushing it through. So that's good.
Yeah, when I was working on my doctor, I had to go through this testing or the certification process. I forget what the official name was. But if you're going to do experiments that involve people, there are a lot of really bad precedents in the world.
Yeah.
Hitler, to name one. The Tuskegee Project and other things like that. Just bad.
Yeah, the United States doesn't have
examples.
the greatest track record either.
Well, I mean, Tuskegee was here, but they bring up like the Stanford prison experiment,
Yeah.
which is really famous. Like technically you could have left at any time.
Yeah.
Sure you could. There's a prisoner over there telling you no, right? Or
Right.
not prisoner,
a guard.
A guard. Anyway, we're very serious about how we deal with humans,
Right.
to keep everyone safe, and in the world at large. I'm sure they're very frustrated. Why can't I just move faster? It's because people's lives are at stake. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we want to be very careful. That was a tangent, but good and bad things have happened this year for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to dwell on the bad, but
It's been a good year.
you got married.
Oh yeah, that's right.
My son was born.
Mazel tov.
I mean, these are big family events, big things that are happening.
Yeah.
I've been able to keep work this whole time. Unfortunately, that hit you negatively eventually. But we have a lot to be thankful for. So, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, you too, man. All right, let's move on to what we're really thankful for.
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian. Now, in the last couple
All
of
week,
episodes,
I'm sorry, all week, as people have been very serious and earnestly posting on social media, hashtag give thanks, very earnestly about the things that they're grateful for. I'm
grateful for TV.
I love Mandalorian. Last night I watched 5 episodes of Animaniacs, the new Animaniacs.
Right.
It gets me. Like, if you want to understand my sense of humor in ways I can't even explain, watch Animaniacs. They have 5 new episodes. No, sorry. They have, I think, 13 new
Yeah,
episodes.
I'm up to episode 7.
Are you?
Yeah.
I've watched 5 last night. I'm probably going to watch more tonight.
Yeah.
I think that the sense of humor is still there. I don't think the songs are as good.
Okay.
I don't think the songs are as good, but it's absolutely the same sense of humor. And it just like
Yeah.
my wife, she's like, are do you feel bad watching this without the kids? I'm like, no. But now that you bring it
It's
up,
not
I don't
really,
know.
it's not really a kid's show.
But as we talked about it, we checked in with each other, as the episode goes on. We're like, so what do you think? Do you think they'd get this? And they're like, no. I totally agree. They wouldn't be getting this at all. So I asked my daughter today, who's 11,
Yeah.
what would you think? It's predominantly, jokes for adults.
Mm-hmm. Political satire.
She didn't seem that interested. And I feel justified in watching it without her.
Well,
I've been very excited to watch it.
yeah. Well, when you're a grown man watching it alone with no kids around, it's just weird. But
No, it's not weird. Like, okay, let's be honest. That's not made for kids.
no.
It's also not like
Well, it's
mature.
also
It's rated PG,
Yeah.
TV PG, but it's absolutely for adults.
it's geared towards our generation, the generation that grew up with it, right?
Yes.
And watching it, the very first opening where they're doing the Jurassic Park thing, and
Yes.
I almost peed myself. I was dying laughing, right? I was like, no, it's beautiful. And my wife was there going, I don't get it,
It's the Jurassic Park movies have been on TV a lot lately.
Have they?
And my wife's been watching them over and over and over again.
Okay.
And so she picked up on it immediately. Like,
Yeah.
this is Jurassic Park.
See, I don't like.
Did they do that in the very beginning though?
Yeah, that was the opening.
For the very first one.
Yeah, that was the opening. That's how they opened the show. And sitting through it, I'm going.
Executive producer Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, sitting through it, I'm going. This is a little like too just Republican for me, right? But then thinking back on the show, that's how it was in the '90s too.
Was it anti-Republican?
Yeah. Well, it was just.
They brought back
was
Bill
pl-
Clinton playing the saxophone.
Yeah, it was just lots of political satire, right? Which I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily understand at the time.
No.
Right. And now I understand it a little bit better. And at first it kind of irked me a little bit because I'm like, this is just like, really anti one thing. And then I thought, nah, I don't care. It's funny.
It's episode about 3 or so that they have.
The gun thing.
Oh no, the gun thing. That is, I think that was 5.
Was it?
That was very. They used the example of bunnies
Yeah.
procreating to refer to them as buns.
Yeah.
Would you like to buy some buns?
Yeah.
And they talk about bun violence, and then they call up Australia to figure out how to deal with it, and they have a bun buyback program, which it's all.
Yeah.
And then they talk about
The
how
dingoes
it's
show up.
Yeah, yeah. And then they collect.
Yeah.
They collect the buns. It's a very thinly veiled reference to gun control. Yes. My favorite one though is when they had to get rid of Odysseus.
Oh, yeah.
that it's a big, Cyclops
Yeah.
Donald Trump
Yeah.
who just annoys him
Yeah.
to death.
To death.
Basically. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. No, I get the humor.
But yeah, it's very clear which side they're on.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I don't know. They used it as like a fear mongering, right? And
They did talk about the 3 worst mongerings.
Yeah.
That was a gag, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember the punchline on it.
And at the same time, I felt like, man, that's how I feel about the coronavirus. I feel like they're fear mongering it. So anyway, that's my political 2 cents for the day.
Well, I mean, we may not be done. We still have to talk about much more controversial topics like The Mandalorian tying back into the sequel trilogy.
Oh yeah.
So, season 2, episode 4 came out, The Siege. What do you think, Joseph, of The Mandalorian?
Of The Mandalorian. No, we've neglected The Mandalorian, which sometimes I feel like maybe this show is just about The Mandalorian.
Well, lately there's nothing. Oh, yeah. So like some shows came back on TV and they're like, great. Yeah. They had 2 episodes and they're like, we'll be back in January.
Yeah.
You started in November. you stopped in November.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, with how things are and how
Yeah. Well, and everything's
closed
been
off.
Yeah.
I don't know that it'll be coming back in January either.
Everything's been rewritten, and like like
Yeah.
Superstore, like we watched Superstore, right?
Okay.
Which honestly, like I kind of don't even want to watch anymore because it's just about the coronavirus. Like that's all the show is about anymore.
It's been very interesting to see how each show takes it on
Yeah.
or completely ignores it.
Yeah. My wife absolutely loves doctor shows, right? Like
Okay.
that's her thing. I don't. To me it felt like I worked in the ER for years, right? I didn't want to go home and watch a show about work. Just didn't play well with me.
When I watched Friday Night Lights,
Yeah.
I got mad at it so often because that's not how schools work.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's why I
That's
hate.
not how football coaches operate.
Yeah.
That is not how counselors don't just get hired to become the principal.
Yeah.
I'm just often it would be pause the TV. I would yell at it. My wife would go, "Are you done?" And then we turn it back on and we keep going because I'm the one who had to.
Yeah.
That's not how schools work.
That's how I feel about doctor shows. I'm like, no, that's just ridiculous. Thank you, drama. Let's move on, right?
And they all have advisors on the show, but also they're not there to make it realistic.
No.
They're there to highlight the drama.
Right.
So it's not realistic.
But because every show is just 100% about the pandemic, right? She's not interested in any of them anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because she's like, I'm really tired of hearing about this because she has to deal with it in everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has to go watch it on television.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's another interesting thing.
Have you seen the trailer for this new show, Nurses?
No.
Is
it funny?
It's I'm laughing at it because of how absurd it comes off, right?
Okay.
Because again, it's totally tone deaf to the moment, right?
Okay.
Because the whole political discourse, I say political, the whole discourse about nurses for this entire year has been how hard they're working and how draining it is. It's coming home. It's not being able to spend time with your family because you're afraid of infecting them. It's, you got to take all your clothes off, because you're afraid they're contaminated. And then you just like all that. And it's like... It's 5 nurses having sex with each other is what the show looks like.
Okay. So like every other,
which is like it's hot nurses. That's what it sounds like. And it's not just women, it's men and women, because that's realistic.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's not like, nurses working hard despite the pandemic and their personal troubles. It's like the promo is, and they're going to have sex. That's the promo.
That's the promo.
It's basically, that's what it is.
I haven't seen a preview for it.
I'll
likely
I
miss
don't
that
plan
show.
on watching it.
That's funny.
It's
It must be hard working in TV right now, having to play this delicate balance between the two things. Right?
So The Good Doctor.
Yeah.
So The Good Doctor, the first episode basically went through the first couple months of the pandemic.
Right.
And then the second episode, it's like, it has this little thing at the beginning with Freddie Highmore in his British accent, not in his American,
Yeah.
He's not in character.
Telling people to wear masks.
Right. No. What he is like, we're imagining what the world will be like once this is over. It's like, okay, no masks, period. Just, there's no masks in the episode. It's over.
Yeah.
It's like, we covered it. We did one episode. That's it.
That's
There you
interesting.
go.
That's
There you go.
interesting.
Yeah. It's also interesting. So like we watch FBI.
Right.
And FBI is interesting because
The dynamic
CBS
with police.
has been,
Yeah.
well, they haven't gotten into that yet. CBS has, they've been showing all these and we're coming back, so you see all these behind the set things and you see people wearing their masks and they're going through all the proper protocols. And then you watch the episode, no one has a mask. I'm like, I'm very confused. I'm getting 2 different mixed messages, but they're doing this thing. It's like, hey, should we elbows or should we just hug? That was the closest they got to acknowledging that there's a pandemic.
Well, it's difficult to do because you pay a lot for the actors' faces. Like a lot.
Well, it's also like whenever, there's some FBI agent that's like, all right, we're going to bust into this house, and everyone has their helmets on except for the leads. Why? Because you got to see that
You
face.
have to see their faces.
And it's just like, oh,
I'm sorry, but the pandemic does not lend well to the way TV works. Grey's Anatomy, where they're handling it,
I'm sorry.
they just have their picture.
Yes,
hanging from their neck.
No, they've done that. They did that on Good Doctor too.
Did they?
They also did that.
Well,
the picture.
I believe a lot of hospitals are actually doing that too,
yeah.
so that people can.
So it's covered.
Yeah.
But this is funny because we're trying and failing miserably to talk about Mandalorian. It's a show about a guy who never shows his face.
See, the Mandalorian has it covered.
So you can't not say covered and really. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. What do you think of the episode?
Oh man, I think it was awesome. Now, okay.
I was so upset that they didn't go straight to Ahsoka Tano. I was so mad. I was
knew
just
they
like,
weren't going to.
I'm mad.
I knew they weren't going to.
I didn't want that episode. I don't want it.
That's how you tease. I'm sorry, bro. That's just the way you do it. They know how to do it. They do it better than you and I do it. Shh.
Still mad. But it was a good episode.
Now, I have spoken to a friend about this.
No. I have spoken. Sorry, go ahead.
I've spoken to a friend about this, and I went, okay, so now immediately I was watching this episode, and I had just gotten back from work, right, the gym, whatever, and my wife was gone, and she likes to watch the show, but I'll rewatch it with her. I'm fine with rewatching that show with her. I just don't tell her that I watch it. I mean, if she asks, I'm like, yes, I watched it without you. She'll be upset for a little while, but then we'll watch it together, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, I've been
harmony.
I've rewatched multiple episodes this season.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching the episode, and I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was making breakfast or something like that. And then they come to the cloning thing. And I stopped everything, dropped the hot pan.
Sorry, should we spoiler warning?
Spoiler warning. 6 listeners. I dropped everything and I immediately texted you, right? And I'm like, oh, this is what they're doing, and not realizing that you probably hadn't watched it yet.
So I tried to figure out the best way to respond.
I think you just waited for hours.
I responded to something else.
I don't think you responded at all.
I ignored the Mandalorian comment till I could get later in the day.
Yeah,
because we were out of town going to a doctor's appointment for my son, and I just waited. And then when I finally watched the episode, I'm like, okay, now I've seen it. Because I didn't want to try and make him feel bad. It's like, thanks for ruining it. Thank you.
No, I should have known better. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. He obviously hasn't had time to watch it. It's Friday.
Now I've watched it.
Yeah. And I did feel bad about that, but I didn't have anybody else to talk to about it. So
yeah, no, the first text was like, it's about cloning. They're trying to make the sequel trilogy relevant.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Then you said some other comment. I responded to that.
Yeah.
And then after I saw the episode, I was like, okay, now I've seen it. Now I can talk.
So I've noticed a pattern, right?
Yes.
The pattern is this. George Lucas makes movies. Everybody, they are beloved, right? Star Wars is beloved movies. Then he decides to make the prequel trilogy. They are beloved. But there are many who do not beloved them because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, all these different problems. Dave Filoni comes in with the Clone Wars and just goes, all right, A, what was the problem there? Fixed. B, what was the problem there? Fixed. 7 years later, right, of his show, The Clone Wars, and he's like, yep, A, B, C, D, I've fixed every single one of them. Now, George Lucas sells Star Wars, right? The franchise continues on in the eyes of Disney. They are not so beloved, right? I mean, they are beloved by many, but not beloved by all. So what do? John, Dave, come here. Make us a show. Hey, here's all the problems.
In the meantime, Dave Filoni makes Star Wars Rebels, which is... It was a little weird for me at first, but it was a great story.
I haven't seen it yet. And I need to catch up. But
I love Rebels.
so they go, A, here's the problem. B, and that's what Mandalorian is doing, and what I assume Disney Plus will be doing over the next 4 or 5 years.
It gets to cover what you don't even get to. It fills in the whole world that happened in between episode 6 and episode 7.
Right.
And and you get to see, everything with Mandalore, which we got to dig into with Clone Wars, and then even more in Rebels. And I haven't watched Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But I have watched all of Rebels.
Right.
So like you get all that, and it gets to continue that. And Dave was part of all that. Oh, I just hit my move goal.
Did you? Mazel tov.
I talk with my hands enough.
This is off topic. My brother used to have a Fitbit, and he worked at Bash's. He would walk like 10 miles a day.
That's true. But I, like seeing the X-Wing pilots go around like beat cops.
Yeah.
Like investigating. It's like, well, this is interesting how this is going.
Yeah.
Like, I like seeing this.
No,
I really like this. And yes, we get to retcon is the wrong word, but to retroactively explain things earlier in the timeline.
Yeah.
In episodes that came out afterwards.
Things that get just dumped on you.
So now they got to make all the cloning stuff, which, yes, was introduced in episode 2 and brought up during Clone Wars. But then, like, you hear nothing until episode 9.
Episode 9. And then it
and
just
we're
kind of
like,
gets,
wait, what?
And it's like, here, this is how it happened.
Yeah.
But with a transmission to the universe, to the galaxy.
Yeah, they got a lot of explaining to do.
Well, and I mean, let's be fair.
No.
They just made it up as they went along, right? He had one idea in his head, somebody else had another idea in their head. And in between they did not meet, right? So that's just what happened, right?
I know we've talked about it. I don't know what we've talked about here, but we
haven't talked much about the new trilogy
not
here.
Since we brought the podcast back.
No, not since season 2.
I have so much respect for
Rian
Johnson, for what Rian Johnson did. Like, I totally get it.
Yeah.
As someone who writes, I get what he did.
Yeah.
He was not trying to blow up Star Wars. He was trying to treat them as characters and to bring out the most drama possible.
Right.
People hated that. What I can't believe, and I think ultimately the real problem with the series was Kathleen Kennedy didn't give them any restraint.
Yeah.
And I'm putting it on her. She was in charge the whole time.
Right.
Right.
And still is.
She didn't.
Yeah.
She didn't say, this is what needs to happen. As long as you hit point A, point B, you're good in between.
Yeah.
Everything that we've heard between JJ passing it off to Rian Johnson, the whole Colin Trevorrow bit, and then Ryan passing it back to JJ, and all that we've heard, they had complete control to do what they wanted.
Yeah.
And there was no plan from the studio.
Right.
And that's just bonkers. That you're going to commit that much money to make a trilogy with no guidance that you plan on enforcing throughout the whole thing.
Right. No, I get the thinking behind it, right? Because that's how George wrote, and that's how George made the original trilogy.
And to this day, people are like, there's problems.
Yeah.
And they were stuck retconning and trying to explain things away.
Because, I mean, and I see this a lot in Hollywood.
Their brother and sister?
Yeah. You see this a lot in Hollywood. Like, you get stuck in formulas, right? Because that's what worked, right?
Yeah.
This is what George Lucas did. It worked. Let's get some really good writers behind it, and maybe it'll work. It just didn't quite work, right? Same thing, like, a really good example is The Lone Ranger. Did you see The Lone Ranger?
The Johnny Depp?
Yeah, Johnny Depp and Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer. You know what his real name is? His real name is Armand. His last name is Hammer.
Armand Hammer.
Somebody had a sense of humor. Anyway, But that was a really good example, right? So what they did is they brought in a relatively unknown Army Hammer, right? They brought in Gore Verbinski. Perfect.
It
Brought in,
did Pirates or
yeah,
what else did
he
he
did
do?
Pirates.
Yeah.
They were the Black Pearl, the original one. They said, all right, this is the formula that works. We put these things together, and it just didn't work out, right? And for whatever reason, I actually watched the movie. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't see it until years later. I kind of wrote it off.
Is that on Disney Plus?
It should be, yeah. So, but
I need to catch up on that.
It's better than people give it credit for, right? But they were following this formula that they had set in place. That they said, okay, we gave this to Gore Verbinski. We gave it. I mean, it's the same screenwriter. I don't remember exactly who was a screenwriter at the time, but they gave it to that crew, and they said, look, you guys made magic with pirates, make it again, right? And it just didn't happen. Not because they necessarily made a ton of mistakes or anything with the film. I think it works. I think it's a good movie, but it was just a formula that just didn't
the same
pan out.
formula because yep. No, that makes sense.
Which is what I feel like happened with the new Star Wars trilogy. So now, cycling this back to the Mandalorian,
I
right?
agree with this. So Dave wasn't a part of the original pitch, as far as I understand. It was Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau pitched it.
Did John bring Dave in?
I think the way I heard it, they told him, you need to have Dave.
Okay. So Kathleen probably.
Oh, that was a good move.
I don't know. I assume.
That was a good move.
Yeah.
Now, if you'd have done that with, okay,
Yeah.
JJ, talk to Dave.
Yeah.
Ryan, talk to Dave. Colin,
Poor guy.
if they would have had
His movie was going to be cool.
and it's not uncharacteristic for Disney to do this.
Yeah.
That's how they handle all their animated films.
Right.
If they make them by committee. That's how Marvel operates.
Yeah.
But for some reason they forgot how to make multi-episode movies when they bought Star Wars.
It's a problem on a management level.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not the storyteller's fault. It's not JJ's fault. It's not Ryan's fault. It's a problem at a management level.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
No, bringing this back to the Mandalorian, right? We've got now the Emperor was a clone that got dropped on us, right? In the ninth episode,
the one that came back,
right?
Yes.
So now we've got these cloned bodies. Now I immediately went, oh, okay, this is the Emperor, right? Now I spoke to a friend about this a little bit later, and he said, no, I think it's Snoke. And I thought, why do you think that? Because it never occurred to me. Because Snoke has a backstory, right? Like he has this whole backstory in the comics and everything. They've built him up around, and he has a relationship with Ben Solo that we have now seen in the backstory of the comics. And I haven't read a ton of it. I read a little bit of it, so it didn't occur to me. So I'm wondering what occurred to you at that moment.
When we saw the Emperor?
When we saw when we saw the clones. Well, we are assuming are clones. I mean, we know.
Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Well, my friend had already ruined it for me. It's like watching The Sixth Sense.
Did I incept
And you
it?
already know to look for the color red, and you already know everybody's dead. That's what it's like. And if I just ruined something for you,
I'm terrible.
it's been like 20 plus years.
Get over it.
Like, it's fine. Anyway,
Did you come up with anything different or?
No, I also couldn't see it very well because it was on my phone and I'm in a car and it's like daylight. And so it's like, okay, there's something there. All right. Going back and watching it later and watching all the people have fun making videos, talking about it online later. That was fun.
Yeah.
And you could see it really well. It's like, okay, you can totally see a Snoke head in there.
Yeah.
Like it looks a bit like Snoke. Yeah.
That never occurred to me, like, at all.
One thing a lot of people keep bringing up is like the timeline just not adding up. Like the years that it takes for something to happen, it just aren't adding up. So how long, and I know nerds know this, and I'm apparently not including myself in this, how long after Jedi does this take place?
Well, okay.
And how long before episode 7 does that take place?
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm sure someone out there does know.
Yeah.
I'm
And they're going to use all the appropriate terms like such and such. And
Yeah.
there's different letters that I know they exist. I just don't know what they are. It's not like, AD. It's-
BC or something like that.
there's specific letters. I heard them recently.
AOD or I don't remember.
Yeah.
After AE, after Empire, something like that. Anyway,
I don't know. It's going to be cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really curious about the, what do they call them? Dark Troopers
yes.
that we see at the end, which are droids, which are not people.
Are they droids or are they force wielding people?
Apparently, they come from the video games,
Okay.
and they're droids.
Okay.
At least,
They come from which video game?
I don't know.
Okay.
People who
You should know these things.
are more tied in than me know these things. Yeah.
I'll be honest, they lost me a little bit with.
Well, again, you can't see it very well.
Yeah.
You can't see it very
you're
well.
not supposed to. You're not supposed to know what it is.
But yes, it was okay. So we see that there's cloning happening, right? And yes, this is going to be setting up for later. It also makes me think, and I haven't heard anyone say this yet, but I'm sure other people are thinking it.
No, you're the only one. Put it out
Season 1 came out before Rise of Skywalker. They introduced the cloning element episode 3 of season 1.
Oh, okay.
That's when they return the child, right? And then, he kills everybody and takes the child back.
I would like to see the baby.
If all this was supposed to set up for that, Jon Favreau had a plan before anyone saw Rise of Skywalker.
Well, he at least knew. Jon Favreau's he's in the circle.
Yeah, I know. But, this is before any fallout had happened. He had already laid the groundwork to work it in and explain it. But it's already there.
So the question is, had he read the script?
I would not be surprised if he at least knew beats. What's going on?
Right.
Okay.
He's gonna know the Emperor's coming.
Emperor's coming back.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are we doing spoilers? We're like spoiler warnings for The Sixth Sense, but we're not doing spoiler warnings for Rise of Skywalker.
Because our fan base is that big.
Anyway, but does that make sense?
No. I'm with you.
He probably knew beats of what was going to happen.
Like he knows the Emperor's coming
He's like, okay,
back.
well, how?
Yeah.
Well, cloning.
Yeah.
Cloning.
It's been a major beat before.
Okay. All right.
Why not?
Dave, what do you think? Yeah, we talked a lot about cloning.
I can make that
I
work.
mean, did you watch my show? It's like,
I can make it work. Don't worry.
it was called Clone Wars. It was in the title of every episode.
I can make midichlorians work, bro.
No. People don't like that. It kind of triggers them. Call them M counts.
M count.
M count.
M count.
No, I think it was good.
Long ago, I prophesied that you would never hear the word midichlorians in the Star Wars universe again after the fallout. I mean, even after that movie came out, okay? Even after that movie, people were...
After episode 1.
After episode 1, people were upset because everyone was really frustrated that it wasn't just some form of magic, right? It was like, oh no, now it's a science thing. So long ago, I prophesied that you would never hear that again, and they have worked it in so subtly.
For those that aren't watching the video, Joseph is waving his hand every time he says prophesy.
Prophesy. Wingardium Leviosa. I don't know. But, so, yeah. But I love how he used it. I thought that was great. I thought that was brilliant. Because that's a trigger word,
M count.
It's a microaggression.
But I think it makes a whole lot of sense. It's very consistent with what we see later. It didn't feel awkward or unmotivated. Like it was very good.
Yeah.
So,
and I think we've talked about this before. Everything in The Mandalorian kind of, the throwaway episode from last season. We talked about this in a couple episodes ago. It came back.
you just made reference to Harry Potter. All right. Episode. Okay. Chamber of Secrets feels like a throwaway,
Right.
but it turns out to be one of the most important ones.
Right.
Because that's where they introduce Horcruxes without saying it.
Right.
That's kind of what, like, these throwaway episodes we're talking about. It's like, oh, but they actually introduced something really important.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of what they're doing.
So, and that's something that Dave Filoni does so well. That he did so well with the Clone Wars television series. You get an episode that's just random and out there, and then eventually becomes a key part of what's happening next season. He has all these things written out, and he goes, "Okay, I want to hit beats on this."
Wait. You can plan stories out ahead of time?
No, Lost. No, I'm just kidding.
Lost. See, who did that? J.J. Abrams. Sorry. I feel like something is coming full circle.
Yeah. But I thought it was a really good episode, and I was very excited.
You know what I loved was the action sequence that follows all that. The way they showed what's the right name? The bike troopers. What do they call those on the speeders?
Scout troopers.
Scout troopers.
Yeah.
I love how shot for shot, like you've seen all those shots before.
Yeah.
And of course it's all the same. You know that this is the foot, right? Like I'm doing it with my hand, but you know what it is. Like, oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And of course they used all the same sound design, which makes everything really good.
Right.
Everyone loves how they came down the hill and, some made it, some didn't. That
was pretty dope.
They turn the corner and then it's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
And there's definitely some Indiana Jones stuff in there too,
right.
The tank barreling down and you got people on both sides and you're ramming against them. It's just, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Did you notice who directed that episode?
Oh, right. Yeah, it was the guy in the episode.
Yeah.
What's his real name?
I was hoping you would know it. Carl Weathers.
Weathers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting that he directed.
Yeah, he directed it, and everyone's made this big hubbub about, oh, my favorite new character in Mandalorian is the crew member that couldn't get out of the shot.
Oh, yeah. I didn't notice it, and I watched it twice, so. And I noticed things. Guys. I noticed things.
Come on, guys. Like, what you had to do is you had to take a still.
Yeah.
You had to overexpose the shot. Then you could see the person wearing jeans. Yeah. Sure.
And a big watch. Now, here's something that I do also enjoy about this show. The stormtroopers are much more efficient.
Did you? No, you posted that.
Yeah,
you posted that. Yeah. What did you post?
So it was just a meme, right? It wasn't anything I came up with, but it was but it was stormtroopers. Or no, it was just bad guys in the original trilogy, and then it had Han Solo, and he's standing there with his gun in the air, right? And they've got a shot going way off, and then a shot going right at him, but then curving around just to miss him.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, yeah. Stormtroopers are like buffoons in the original trilogy, right?
Okay, here it is.
And then you go to Stormtrooper, and then you go to bad guys in the original. Yeah. So then you get into bad guys in the prequel era, right? And it's like they have a couple laser blasts actually hitting the lightsaber of Obi-Wan Kenobi and one just missing. And then bad guys in the prequel era, but with sad music, and they all hit on target, like right in the chest. And then bad guys in the Mandalorian, and it's like every single mark
no
hits
matter
him.
Which way it goes, it always hits Mando. Yeah. He gets hit all the time. But he's got Beskar.
Yeah, he's got Beskar armor, which I still think is more than just armor. It's magnetically sealed. That's why I think that it deflects bullets, and that's why I think it has circuitry on the inside.
Circuitry?
Yeah. You know how it broke and it was going...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what powers it. Magic, probably. I don't know what powers anything in Star Wars. What am I talking about? Kyber crystals. That's what powers everything. So I thought that was really fun. But I also find it a decent method of telling a story. Like they feel lethal. They feel like an efficient force. Like the scariest people we've bumped into in The Mandalorian are not necessarily the other mercenaries, aren't necessarily other mercenaries, but are the remnants of the Empire. Mm-hmm. Those feel like the most... I mean, yes, they did wipe out a bunch of them at once, but... And IG-88, he was banned.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Bamf.
It was just kind of a fun thing that I noticed.
Yeah. I like the meme. That was funny. It was a good episode. That sequence at the end, the TIE fighters, they get to go down and chase through the
Yeah.
the canyon. That was
cool.
fantastic. It was a good sequence.
Yeah.
It was a good sequence. So what happens next?
I don't know. Well, next we need to meet Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Unless there's some hiccup in the way on the road to meet Ahsoka, which is
So we know there's not eight episodes in the season.
yes.
This is going to be episode 5. It's time to meet her.
Yeah. We know he has a tracking beacon, right?
Yes.
So that's
and of course that's going to come around later.
Yeah.
May not be this episode, but
which I did think that was silly about the episode. As a person that works or worked on heavy machinery, they got that thing fixed from really, really broken really, really fast.
it was the equivalent of like what, a day?
Maybe. And it was just 2 guys. They must have been really, really good.
They're really, really good.
Yeah. Or just no Razor Crests really, really well. I don't know.
It was so close to working.
Yeah.
Like my computer,
Yeah.
which we're going to fix after this episode.
Absolutely.
I crashed it.
You haven't crashed it. Once
No.
you remove that RAM, it'll fire up again. We just need to figure out the right sequence.
Yeah, we both bought new RAM for our computers.
And mine's been a nightmare. I was so excited. I edited and made a song, right?
Oh, yeah.
That I thought actually sounded pretty good,
I liked it.
right?
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time on it. I literally spent probably 9 hours building that song, building those beats, taking the piano, clipping it, changing its tone, bringing that, and then bringing it into Fairlight and just tweaking it here and there. That's a really great program. And then, of course, I'm spoiled by Adobe and just everything saves all the time. And I walked away from it and it goes, pew, and gone. All of it gone.
Rookie
I
mistake.
know, rookie mistake. Really, it is. So I'm like, nope, I'm going to upgrade everything and then I'm just going to be boss. And then it doesn't work. And I'm really frustrated and having to buy different parts. But also Lenovo has different things that doesn't really work with it. And it's a Lenovo board. And now I'm thinking, I'm just going to build my own board and do everything the way I want to do it.
Okay.
To which, of course, my wife is like, no, you're not.
I have an MSI board.
Yeah, MSI is a little bit more play friendly. They like, anyway. So, yeah.
So we're gonna meet Ahsoka. Everyone that I'm hearing, they seem to think that there's gonna be a fight between her and Mando.
Ahsoka. With all of his Jedi killing weapons. She is no Jedi.
She's a
No, she walks away from the series as
yeah, but like
as a gray Jedi.
she Ronin. Like what do we want to call her?
Oh snap!
What are we gonna call her?
Can't already see your heart out.
I'm excited for the next one. Like these last several episodes, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna feel like there's gonna be some momentum. I'm having trouble waiting.
I know.
Between episodes.
I wish Disney would get on the whole just drop everything. A
lot of people dropped Disney Plus after watching Mandalorian,
right?
Because they did it because of it. I mean, now I do believe that the numbers are there are 100 million active subscribers of Disney Plus within a year.
Yeah.
So they're doing something right. And one thing they are doing is they're treating it more like TV. Like, no. You can't just watch this and walk away.
Yeah.
No, we own you. You're going to watch, and then you're going to watch, and then you're going to watch, and you just never know. You can't go anywhere.
Which bothers me because I love Netflix's model.
Dump and run.
Dump and run. Advertise it, let it pop up a few times, and then move on to more content, right? Which Disney's probably not producing enough content to do that.
But then again, I mean, they completely own Hulu now.
Right.
And they dropped all of Animaniacs at once.
Right.
So, I mean, that's
a Warner Brothers property.
I know. I thought about that. I'm like, wait a second. That's on the wrong network.
Yeah.
But you know who paid for it? Hulu paid for it.
Yeah.
And I love how Hulu advertises that they're throwing money at things.
Yeah.
Like there's literally
Yeah,
like the person in the green suit
We've got
wearing
live
his,
sports.
but Warner Brothers didn't pony up the money for an HBO Max release.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that Justice League is going to be a 4-part miniseries.
Yeah.
4 hours.
Yeah, I'd heard that it was going to be 2, and then I heard it was going to be 3, and then now it's up to 4. So.
And apparently, they already have picture lock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just VFX and whatever else.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know they didn't reshoot very much. It was.
They really cut a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Henry Cavill didn't come back at all.
He didn't?
No. He didn't come back to shoot anything.
They didn't need to rework anything?
No, I mean, they reworked the stashed in post. But I mean, I've seen at least 100 editors online with After Effects make the stash look better than it did. I mean, if you haven't bumped into that video on YouTube yet, there's at least a dozen of them. You know what I mean? And they all make it look better.
That sounds like one of those videos you do. You go on Fiverr. It's like, why'd you take away this mustache?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, and we watched that movie together, right? And it just bugged the head out because I didn't know what was going on.
I already knew that was supposed to be in there, but you didn't.
I didn't.
And you brought it up because you noticed it.
Dude, what is wrong with his face? Like, what's wrong with his mouth? Did you explain it to me there?
I'd already heard that they had to reshoot, and then they just did stuff in post.
Yeah.
You're like, no, it's not working. It's not working.
Yeah.
And for, I don't know how many, has this been a couple years now?
Yeah.
You've always been very like, the mouth is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. Mouth and eyes are the hardest thing. Eyes are getting pretty good, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm watching the movie. I had no idea that they had to take away his mustache in post, and I'm going, what's wrong with his mouth? Like,
Yeah.
No prior knowledge, but it just it irked me, and it wasn't always there.
Then you go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Joss Whedon cut.
I'm excited for the for the Snyder Cut.
I'm excited for you to get HBO Max so that I don't have to. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, that's okay.
I figure we can watch it together.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I am. I'm excited for that.
I mean, there's going to be plenty of stuff on there I'd want, but I don't want to have to pay for another service, and I don't want to have to do a trial.
Well, HBO's expensive too. HBO's is it's one of the more expensive services out there. What is Netflix is up to like $12. I think HBO's like $14.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they have a lot of content.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got from a movie standpoint, they have a ton of movies that I really want to watch and catch up on. Right. Someday I'm sure I'll work my way through Game of Thrones, but
they are releasing Wonder Woman
1984. Yeah.
On Christmas Day in theaters and on Max.
Right.
So you can go pay to watch it if the theater's actually open, or you can stream it.
Right. And ours likely won't be. So
ours isn't open, but they say that they're waiting for actual movies to come out. So
right.
Maybe that's when they would.
Maybe.
Because that's a big draw.
Yeah. Not many people are releasing things right now other than indie. And unfortunately, it's just not the way things work.
Speaking of indie, you sent me a message. Was it Saturday?
I don't know.
And you're like, you need to watch this movie. It's called Prospect.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I look it up. And I'm like, all right, downloading. And it's an indie, I've tried to do research on it.
Mm-hmm.
It started out Kickstarter for a short film.
Mm-hmm.
And they raised about $20,000.
Was it like a $6 million budget?
I don't know what the actual budget was because it's not posted on IMDb from what I saw.
Okay.
Because I looked. The estimated theatrical run, they made about $20,000. Mm-hmm. It premiered at South by.
Okay.
But so it premiered South by at 2018.
2019.
But the Kickstarter is 2014.
Yeah. So
this was a long time coming. And money happened somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
But largely what it is it's a sci-fi and you have some stuff that happens in forest and some stuff that happens inside this little mining pod,
Yeah.
and that's it.
That's the whole
But in
film.
that production design, they're able to create an otherworldly planet.
So good. Right?
It was really good.
And the thing is, I watched that movie and I
How
thought,
did you pick up on that?
I don't know.
There were a couple times I heard Mandalorian in it. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you heard Mando's voice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's in the film, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It just like popped up as something that I might like in Netflix. And
I didn't explain that. Pedro Pascal.
yeah, Pedro Pascal is the lead.
He's in it.
Yeah.
He's in it. Yeah.
He's the lead antagonist. Anyway, but it just popped up as something that, hey, maybe you'll enjoy this. And I, watched Netflix's little preview thing, and I went, I don't know what it is, but I feel connected to whatever it is they made there. So I sat down and I watched it, and it blew my mind. First of all, I can do every single effect that they did in that film.
So let's go through some of the effects.
Yeah.
You see the space station from a distance,
Right.
like slowly panning away.
Mm-hmm.
You see the atmospheric effect of there's like dust in the air all the time.
Yeah.
And you see that it's always floating around. You see, I don't know, there's the sky, you see like the planets, nearby, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the most complicated stuff you see.
The classic sci-fi stuff. They have rail guns, which I thought was really, that's somebody who thinks about sci-fi, introducing rail guns into it, right? Because, if you don't know what a railgun is, we're like at an hour right now. I'm not gonna go into a railgun, but if
Railguns are real, man.
no, they are.
They are.
They're real.
They're actually on battleships now, right?
Yeah. But that's someone who thinks about sci-fi. That's a weapon you can fire in space. Makes sense, right? And they're on a planet where the air is breathable, but it's the spores or whatever that they're having a hard time with, and they
need filters.
They have to constantly clean their filters. They have this stuff called the juice, which I imagine is some kind of molasses based.
Do you need some juice?
I don't know. There's just a lot of things. This feels like a lived-in universe.
Yeah, and
right?
there's a lot of talk.
Yeah.
They're mentioning other planets and places, and like which you never see and it's never explained.
Mm-hmm.
What I love is that opening sequence, with the girl and her dad
on the ship.
Yeah, there's just all this implied understanding.
Yeah.
Now it takes a lot of restraint to do that because movies they want to explain everything really fast,
Right.
In an unnatural way, and it makes sense, right? It catches the audience up. They don't do that.
No.
There's very little explanation because the assumption is you already know.
Yeah. This is space. This is how things happen in space. But and they're extracting some kind of I don't know, but it's a complicated process that they have to get to it, and it's like a jewel.
It's like this, there's some sort of jewel that's in some sort of organic thing in the ground.
They don't ever explain it. It is a complicated process that they have to dig it out. They actually hire people that are specific diggers.
And they show it
right
fail.
So they have like an in-depth knowledge of mining. They're using chemicals with this and chemicals with that. It's just now I realize that most people are going to watch this movie and go, "What the heck was that about? I'm bored. I don't understand what they're talking about." It's not a movie for everybody.
Yeah. But my takeaway was like, that's something we could aspire to.
That is something that I feel like we could have done. Well, I don't know. That was really brilliantly written.
It was done really well, and obviously they had some some good cast.
Their set
they
design,
had some money.
Yeah, their production design and set design was immaculate.
But you have one soundstage.
Yeah.
With a good set, you shooting it for a week, you get everything you need from that, and then everything else is out in the forest.
Yeah.
Like, it's possible.
Yeah. There was some night stuff, and I feel like I know it was probably the look that they were going for, but for me, it struggled a little bit because there's so much happening that I'm not seeing.
I mean, they did some stuff in silhouette,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And that was realistically my only gripe about the film.
I wanted to see what it was shot on, but I don't think IMDb has very much information.
Well, that's how indie it is, I guess. But, oh man, the writing was really, really good. You know, it's a character-driven story. You care about the characters by the end. You know, you genuinely don't know what's going to happen.
Here's the top review for a prospect. A rare treat, real sci-fi without pretension or the usual stupidities.
Awesome. Yeah, they worked precisely within their budget. They made it work exactly the way they needed it to.
Okay, all right. So, box office. Opening weekend by country. United Arab Emirates, $17,877.
Wow.
Worldwide, $22,777.
That'll pay Pedro.
They made all their money in Dubai. I mean,
Actually,
technical specs of shot. Oh, okay, here we go.
Oh, tech specs.
All right, here we go.
Hit me.
All right.
Arri Alexa.
No.
Red?
No, it's red.
Okay.
Okay, so runtime, an hour 40, color aces, right? Which is how I'm trying to edit our movie. Is 185.
Okay.
Which is what our movie's in.
Yep.
Red Dragon 6K.
Oh, okay.
Red Epic W Helium 8K.
They went real cheap.
So they shot red.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have anything about lenses here.
I'm sure it doesn't.
I like when they do.
Yeah.
I like how it's Cook lenses. Well, of course.
Yeah.
You got Ari's signature prize. Of course you do.
Of course you did, you jerks.
Not a photography lens.
Yeah. So anyway, Prospect.
That was fun.
Yeah. If you're looking for a good sci-fi flick, I highly recommend.
Yeah.
It is rated R. It's
I honestly,
mostly for content.
it probably should be PG-13.
Yeah.
Honestly, and it's only for language.
Yeah. Is there much language in it?
It's
I don't even.
It's only from language, and honestly, probably should be PG-13.
Yeah. Well, there
might be an F word. I don't know.
There was some content, the hacking off of the limb and everything. Like I know stuff like that.
Yeah. Someone's arms gets cut off.
Yeah.
But it basically doesn't. You hear it.
Yeah.
You don't exactly see it, and then later it's gone.
Yeah. But highly recommend if you're looking for something
That was
for
good.
like
It
a
was a good
weekend
recommend.
watch. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Came out of nowhere for me.
a movie you're not going to want to just put on and like play on your phone while you
Yeah.
listen to.
Yeah.
You want to watch it.
You want to pay
because-
attention.
Yeah.
Especially if you're anybody that just likes science fiction and has, an affinity for that kind of world.
We have a sci-fi idea,
Yeah.
which honestly, it's probably a couple movies.
Maybe
And
three.
it's probably it would probably be, depending on how we play it out, it wouldn't be more production design than that.
No.
It would.
I think that's where I think that's the level of production design that we would aim for.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that movie doesn't feel like they hired a bunch of movie making people. You know what I mean? That movie feels like they hired tradesmen and craftsmen. I don't even know where they shot. I imagine it's in Washington or Canada or something. It's somewhere northern America. Americas.
Canada.
In Canada?
Yeah, just as Canada.
Yeah. Because it's very, it's either that or I don't know. But anyway, it's just the people they hired for it, the production design, the lengths that they went to with the production design. You know, it feels like they went out there and made the actors camp in that stuff for a few days and get it dirty and grimy. It's just it's difficult to make a universe look lived in, especially in an indie film. It's so hard to do, you know, because you get clothes that are brand new, or
Yeah.
clothes that the actors bring from home.
And the grade, they tried to make it look like it's like a 70s film.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
They gave it a film look.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave it that filmic look,
Yeah.
which I enjoy. And then, of course, they have multiple layers of the dust or whatever. I think that's what they called it, just the dust.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
super great film.
So we'll make one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Easy.
Oh, so I was listening to a podcast recently, like last week. CEO and founder of Seed and Spark.
I'm not familiar.
You're gonna want to look it up. Seed and Spark. Ooh, sneezies.
Bless you.
Corona. Okay, so Seed and Spark. It's a fundraising platform largely for independent film.
Okay.
It also has a method for screening.
Okay.
So you can, whether you fundraise through them or not, you can be distributed through it.
Okay.
It's probably one of the platforms we could put our movie on,
Cool. Okay.
regardless. But it's also it's designed for fundraising as well,
Gotcha.
and they have a lot of education and things like that. That's something we're going to want to look into, I think.
For sure.
Excuse me. Anyway, Seed and Spark is what it is. I think the way the CEO wants to take it currently is very not just really trying to gear towards any film project, but largely something that has a message.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's where she wants to go with it, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
That's the political climate right now.
Yeah. She's definitely adjusting to that. With Timeless, which I don't know, maybe it ends up with a different name. We know what we're talking about. It's definitely it's got a lot of it's a lot about relationships and family, with a nice
Right.
fantasy / sci-fi backdrop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's that's a great platform. Maybe we go get some money.
I'm afraid it has to be a trilogy.
I think it has to be too. It's either a trilogy or it has to be it has to be a web series.
And a trilogy in the way that you have episode 1, you have episode 2, and you don't realize they connect to episode 3.
Right.
Like, I think that's how it has to be.
You tell one story, you tell the other, and then bring it together.
And then you realize, it's all, like, I guess how people compare it to the Glass trilogy. I don't know what they call it. The M. Night Shyamalan.
The Unbreakable trilogy.
Unbreakable trilogy.
Yeah.
Unbreakable, then you got Glass, then you got Split.
Yep.
Split?
Split. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Split.
No, Glass came later. Okay.
Yeah, Glass is where it comes
in
together.
the middle. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it'll probably be like that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We've gone long enough.
Have we?
Yeah.
All right.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
I don't know. I guess I'm going to hang out with my wife's family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phoenix.
Yeah.
Where are you guys going?
We're going to my in-laws.
Okay.
Yeah.
In
Casa Grande.
Casa Grande?
Yeah.
Are you running a turkey trot? Have you signed up for one?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
I was looking for one in the area, and all they're doing is
Virtual stuff.
virtual stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I'm fit enough to do a 5K.
Yeah, you turned like 32 minutes the other day. I saw your...
Is that about what I'm at?
I think so.
Last week I did 2.5 miles twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That's good.
if I can hold that, that's faster than 32.
What's your fastest time? 30,
I was
31?
I don't know. So according to Nike Run Club, I had like a 29 something,
Okay.
and I think that's the day before I ran the 5K you're wearing.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
that's
the day
fun.
before I ran the course, and I must have been feeling it. I don't know. But that day that I ran it, I think I was just over 30.
Yeah. This is the one we finished together, right?
Yeah, we did that one together. We filmed that.
Yeah.
Well, we've done two.
We've done a couple.
But the other one was 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I run often enough now that I could go run a 5K tonight.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to. but tomorrow I'll do something. Maybe I'll go like 3.5 tomorrow or something.
Yeah. I thought about
6K. I'll do
Yeah.
6K tomorrow.
I thought about signing up for a virtual, but I kind of don't want to run. I've run every.
We could. Well, I'm not. I will run tomorrow night. I am not going to run for another week. Like I'm not going to run on over the break.
I've run every Thanksgiving for probably 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we could just run tomorrow night.
With like maybe a 3 hour with like a 3 or 4 year downtime in between there. You know?
We could just do a 5K tomorrow night.
When I was
Call
in,
that our turkey trot.
when I was in high school, it was like a like I was a wrestler, right? So that was like a thing that we did. We had to run like a 5K or an 8K or whatever, and then we had to like let coach know that we had done it.
Okay, so wrestling season, does it start in November?
Yeah.
Okay,
It starts
so it makes sense.
October, like
Okay.
late October.
So it's starting training.
Yeah.
The season.
So, but yeah, it's yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to not waking up and running on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll probably really hate it. I might actually just get up and run. I'll call you and be like, "Hey, let's virtual run together." I downloaded the Nike app.
Did you?
Yeah.
I really like it.
So
So what I'm doing right now
can't
is...
you run with a crew? I think you can, right?
Oh, should we make a crew?
I think we should.
I guess, yeah.
You're like, no,
It takes two, right?
we're not doing it.
I don't like people. So I don't want to deal with someone else, but yeah, this works.
After you were thankful for me.
It's like, well, it's like my daughter. She's like, I want to play Clash of Clans, but I don't want her dealing with some randos on the internet. So I'm like, we'll make a clan of two. It's just us.
Well, you can't talk to
She hasn't brought it up much. Yeah. But I think, okay, so what I've been doing is I'm running with Nike Plus on my phone, and then on my watch, I'm running Strava.
Yeah. Strava's a good app.
Yeah.
Because
I think I like...
It incorporates bike and...
Yeah, like you
and-
could do the whole triathlon, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, they want me to pay for everything that Nike's doing for free, and so I was like, well, I like that. I like free.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all I'm really doing is I'm posting stuff, and I'm not. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if my watch thinks I'm doing that twice the work. It's like, oh man, you did great today. It's like, no, I ran, but I don't do it long. Oh, okay. So
Well,
Friday,
Freitag.
I will probably be shopping. So I may not see the episode early in the morning. I'm just telling you that now. So when you message me, you're probably gonna ruin.
I won't message you.
Just say, hey, have you seen it yet? That's good. And then I could say, I'll get to it tonight because we have babysitter.
Okay.
So we're gonna be finishing Christmas shopping.
Where are you going shopping at?
We'll be in the valley.
Okay.
we could probably shop with you.
Yeah. Honestly, we might as well just meet up.
At that point. Yeah, I mean we're gonna go. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know when we're leaving. I know my wife took a couple of days off work so that we could set up Christmas. And I did not realize how much Christmas stuff she has. No one person in the world, like, that Geico commercial where he's like, hey,
Oh, yeah,
I switched
yeah.
to Geico and got more. And he keeps coming back.
Every time you look at him, he's got more
Yeah,
decorations up.
Well, I know she always does a lot for Christmas. She always goes all out, right? But I'm pretty sure that she's forgotten half of the stuff that she has.
There's at least a couple Christmas decorations on the shot right now.
I think there's, yeah,
We have a few things in this room.
one there. But it's just everywhere. There's boxes and boxes and boxes of it. So I'm going to discreetly get rid of some of it and put parts, like car parts and stuff there. And camera stuff.
Can I give you some advice?
No, I don't want it.
It's probably
Nope.
not important
Nope.
to get rid of. Probably not important. Remember, one day you will get your own workshop that I will get to use. I haven't forgotten my part in this.
Someday, maybe.
That's when you will have your space.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. You have to help me build it, though.
I mean, sure. You know what I'm capable of. I'm a good second. Whatever that means. I can hand you the tool. I can hold the thing in place. I can, sure. But I will be following a lead.
I can't remember. There was a meme, something or other. It was like helping I don't remember. You haven't known pain until you've held the flashlight for my dad or something like that. I don't remember. And I really connect with that. And now that I'm older, I recognize that in myself. Yeah. That's why I work alone.
All right. We should fix my computer.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
The next episode of the Carpe and Zen Show.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep.